Aloha Sidzillions! Welcome back to another video. For episode 67 of This and That in Stars, I am doing a review for the Minecraft movie. I watched this movie in theaters about a week ago with one of my friends, but it is not a joint review because she did not want to participate this time, which is totally fine. Now, usually I film these reviews a lot closer to when I've actually watched the film, but I've been too busy with my new job to have time until now. I did take some notes best as I could during the movie. I've got access to Google Keep here on my iPad, and also, of course, my memories / I've seen memes online, so I will do my best to make a great piece of content for you, even though it's farther from watching the movie than I usually prefer to film these. This video will contain spoilers for the movie, so if you have not noticed that in my title, this is your last chance to click off. Go watch the film, then please come back, hear what I have to say. So I want to first do a brief plot summary of the movie. For some reason I'm really struggling with how to do this, but here's what I can best think of. So there's a man named Steve, yes, the Steve, who's always wanted to go mine in the caves. But as a kid he was never allowed. As an adult, he's finally able to do it one day. And on that day, he discovers a portal to the overworld. The Orb of Dominance and the Earth Crystal slit together to form this portal. So he goes through into the overworld, the world of Minecraft. In this world, he is taming dogs, fighting mobs, building, the whole 9 yards of what you can do in the game itself. He even builds a portal to the Nether and encounters the piglins, who lock him up because they want to steal the Orb of Dominance for themselves. So to protect the orb and the Earth Crystal, he sends them back to Earth with his dog. But fast forward from that, Steve's stuff comes up for sale in an auction where Garrett the Garbage Man bids on his room and buys all of Steve's stuff. One of those items being, of course, the orb and the crystal. Those two things are just chilling in Garrett's shop. He thinks they're pieces of junk, until one day a boy walks into his store and plays around putting the two pieces together. That creates a pull towards the portal that him and Garrett are drawn to follow. And joining those two people through the portal are the boy's sister and their real estate agent. The four of them are pulled through this portal into the overworld. Eventually they meet Steve because he has escaped the piglins, and the five of them work together to defeat the piglins so they can't create eternal darkness, and then they can go back home after that. So now we're going to get going on to my notes. These are chronological, the order of the film. So let's start with the first one, which is Dance with Panda. There's a scene where Steve is just vibing and chilling with a bunch of panda bears, and I thought them dancing together was kind of funny. The next thing I want to mention is I knew that multiple YouTubers were going to be featured in this film, one being DanTDM that I am subscribed to, and I found his cameo very early in the movie. He was one of the background extras at the storage auction where Garrett buys Steve's room of stuff. He's just there chilling in the background, another attendee of the auction. If the camera angle / background, whatever else, looks a little different from this clip forward in the video compared to previous, that is because my phone has literally just died. I'm going to switch to my iPad so that I can continue and power through filming this video for you. So now to explain how the foursome that I mentioned in my plot summary actually became the foursome. So the two siblings, Henry and his older sister Natalie, are new to town. Their mother has passed away, and at her request, they have moved to Chuglis. That explains why they have Dawn, the real estate agent. It also explains, since it's literally their first day in town, why Natalie has phoned Dawn for help. She literally does not know anybody else yet to rely on. So, Garrett and Henry know each other because, as I mentioned, Henry was in Garrett's shop. He just happened to pop in on his way to school. But also, later in the day, he's building a rocket during science class, like literally being a rocket scientist, and when he launches the rocket, it flies in the air through town, out of control, and smashes into the giant potato on top of the Chuglis potato chip factory. causing destruction of that potato sculpture. So when he's sitting in the principal's office, getting in trouble, obviously, he could call his sister for help, but he doesn't want to jeopardize her first day at work. So he pretends that Garrett is his uncle, and that is how the four of them have connected, as the four that they are, through the portal with Steve. When the four people have gone through the Minecraft portal, there's a quote from Garrett. He says, "We're not in Idaho anymore, I think Wyoming," which is really funny to me, because wherever they are, it's not the states, period. It's not Idaho, Wyoming, or any other one of the 50. I just thought that was really funny. Another thing I found really interesting is that the portal that the four people have just gone through, one of the villagers, a Minecraft villager, also goes through, and he ends up in the real world. He's just wandering around through town, through the forest, yada yada, and eventually he accidentally gets run over by a car. As it turns out, the principal is the one driving that car, the principal of Henry's school, and she invites the villager on a date, we'll call it, to have dinner and make up for having ran him over. There were relationships throughout the film, I'll talk more later, but I loved that. Principal X Villager. I never saw it coming in any of the trailers that I watched, but phenomenal. So I've mentioned multiple times about the four Earthlings teaming up with Steve, but how they actually first meet him is it's their first nightfall of Minecraft. All the zombies and skeletons start appearing, one creeper as well, that they have to fight, and they're not doing a very good job of it. Eventually, Henry figures out how to craft. He catches on pretty quickly and builds them a tower to stay safe in. But Steve ends up finding them and decimating these zombies. He fights them like the pro that he is, and that is how he joins up with their foursome. He saves their life from being ended by these zombies. The first place that Steve takes our team of four is to a village. They need to get some supplies ready for their journey to the Woodland Mansion. Now, as they're walking through town, there's a pig that crosses in front of their path, a pig wearing a crown. Now, I do not understand what is happening at all. Why are we clapping? Why are we cheering? I don't get it. But it turns out that that pig was a reference to now deceased Minecraft YouTuber Technoblade. I don't know the backstory, so I won't be getting into it, but he was a very popular streamer, and that was his logo. That was his skin that he wore in the game, a pig with a crown on it. Also in town, we have the iconic, very popular scene, the meme of Lava Chicken. The entire audience was singing along, clapping, cheering. The scene was very good. Very catchy song as well. It's right up there with the likes of Peaches, and I can't wait to see what Jack Black will do third. After the scene in the village, we see some more of the piglins, and one of them is General Chungus. Based on what he looks like as a character, how big he is, and tall, and heavy set, everything about his appearance, you would not expect his voice to sound the way that it does. It's not like super, super high-pitched, but it's definitely a higher pitch than I would have expected for a character of that type of aesthetic. I also like how the leader of the piglins refers to the humans as roundlings, and I'm guessing she does that because technically they are. They're not square like the villagers, the zombies, insert here character that lives in the Minecraft world. All of the animals are square, and these humans are, well, not. In Steve's stash of supplies, one of the items that he has is an ender pearl. This happens to be his last one, by the way. And when Garrett asks what it is, Steve explains that it can teleport you wherever you throw it. So he chucks it behind him, and then obviously teleports behind him. He's like, whoa, ah! Because it shocked him. I guess he didn't think it would actually work or something. I don't know. But he figures out how ender pearls works by wasting one. Then we go over to the crafting table. Another huge cheer from the audience. And at this point, I'm like, please stop cheering, please stop clapping. I personally don't like this. I just want to watch the movie by itself and not have you guys making noise. The scene in the trailer where a bunch of piglins run past a llama and then just very calmly choose the grass. That scene comes up next in the movie. It is an exact verbatim shot as what we saw in the trailer. So now fast forward, the 3 male characters are at the edge of a cliff and they're about to put on elytra wings to escape. But it turns out that Steve only has 2 pairs. So after he sends Henry off on one and Garrett off on the second one, he is like, oh crap, there's none for me. So he just jumps off without an elytra and ends up holding on to Garrett. So at one point, when they have to get through a small, narrow, circular opening in a bunch of rock, they end up going face to butt and like holding on really, really closely, really, really tight. And it's really funny watching them get that close in that position to make it through the rock tunnel. And them having the elytra was another cheer, another clap from the audience, because apparently that's also iconic. I don't know, but elytra is for the win, clearly. And with these elytras, when they're going to come down from being in the air, they use the classic water bucket toss, because if you have water, then it breaks your fall, and you don't lose near as many hearts of damage. And they land in their water bucket next to some pandas. So throwback to the first panda dance scene, we've got some more pandas here. Same biome. Next, we have another scene of the villager and the principal. This is when they're actually on their date. They're eating food. They're in the restaurant, somehow having a wonderful conversation. I don't know why this principal loves the villager the way that she does, but they're having a grand time. And as mentioned, I'm very happy for them. We get a throwback scene to the leader of the piglins' childhood. Like, why is she how she is? Why does she hate the things she hates? Kind of thing. And it turns out that there was a competition called Nether's Got Talent. I totally get what they're parodying. And in this talent show, she was singing a song while she danced, and nobody liked it. Everyone hated on her for it. So what she did was she turned bitter. If you're gonna hate my singing and dancing, then I ban all art. Period. There's a much previous scene to that where one piglin was drawing a little picture, a cute little crayon art, and she just smites him. Like, nope, you're dead, turn to dust, no one does art. So going back over to Dawn and Natalie, our 2 female characters who are currently still separated from the 3 male characters, they find a wolf in the forest, and instead of being scared about the angry wolf coming at them, Dawn is able to tame the wolf with a bone, and it turns out that this wolf is not just any random wolf, it's literally the Dennis. Steve's Dennis has come back. So with Dennis's help, the 2 women are able to track down and reunite with the 3 men because Dennis will sniff out Steve's scent. Back now with the boys, Steve had mentioned something at one point about having a stash of diamonds, and Garrett wants to go and get some for himself, so he strikes a side deal with Steve that on the way to the Woodland Mansion, they're going to detour into the mine, into the cave, and grab some of these diamonds. So they're doing that, and they notice a crap ton of creepers down there because Steve's creeper farm had been working overtime in the darkness. So in order to escape all of these creepers, they have to hop into the minecart and speed away down the redstone minecart track. Eventually they do make it to the diamonds and are collecting some that they can take. And there's a quote by Steve that says, "I'm sorry about your finances," and then Garrett says, "Shut up, Steve." I forget what came before that "sorry about your finances" part, like what prompted Steve to say it, but all in all, I thought that was really funny. Just "sorry about your finances" said so casually. Long after, they've actually finally made it to the Woodland Mansion. So the plan is that Steve and Garrett are going to create a distraction. They're going to entertain the Illagers, the Evokers, the Vindicators, while Henry runs through the mansion, gets up the other 2-3 flights of stairs, and is able to find the crystal that they're looking for, the new Earth crystal to replace the one that had shattered. So the distraction that Steve and Garrett decide to do, they put on mushroom hats, pull out saxophones, I don't know where they got them, how they built them, whatever, but they are playing music for the mobs. The bad guys are just vibing along and chilling with the saxophone jazz music. But I'm guessing that the vibe of the saxophone music didn't work all that well as a distraction in the end, because next we get the chicken jockey scene. Most iconic, most memed, biggest, loudest clapping cheer of the entire movie. Every time they ever clapped and cheered, this one beat it by a million miles. The most iconic scene that everyone had knew about coming into the film. So we have Garrett, that's the actor's name. We have Garrett standing in the arena, and a chicken appears. He's like, yeah, I can fight a chicken, no problem, it's just a chicken. Then all of a sudden a baby zombie appears on top of the chicken. And again he's thinking, it's just a baby, I can take a baby. But little does he know, baby zombies are much more speedy and powerful than adult zombie counterparts. Don't know why, but that's just a true fact of the game. So he is getting destroyed by this baby, by this chicken. And at one point, the baby starts crying. He's like, oh, I'll back down. I'm so sorry. How can I help you? Are you okay? And boom! It was fake tears. It was the tactic, and you fell for the gullibility. Get destroyed, Garrett, by this little baby zombie on top of a freaking chicken. Meanwhile, to the chicken jockey scene, we see Henry upstairs in the mansion looking through all the chests, trying to find which one has the earth crystal that they're looking for. In doing that, an Enderman has appeared in the same room. So he's trying to do what he's learned about not looking in the eye, not letting it get to him, blah, blah, blah. But of course it does get to him a little bit. You can see people saying negative things to him, the fake thing of saying our thoughts spiraling in his head. But luckily he is able to break through of that and defeat the Enderman to receive the Ender Pearl. Not long after defeating the Enderman and finding the Earth Crystal, he happens to fall through the floor, and that is how he ends up in the chicken jockey arena with Garrett and Steve, who have just finished the battle. So now, finally, we have the boys reconnecting with the girls inside the mushroom house that Natalie and Dawn have built, this super awesome house inside of a mushroom tree. We also have Steve reuniting with Dennis, which is a very heartwarming, touching scene. He's very, very happy to be with his dog again after all of this time. During the film, the orb had fallen into the wrong hands. Mrugosha, leader of the Piglins, does retake possession of it, and so now we see the Great Darkness starting. The Great Darkness spreading over the land, blocking out the sun, and meaning that all evil mobs can be there 24/7 because now they won't burn. Zombies, skeletons, of course the Piglins, everyone can just be in the overworld at all times because of the Great Darkness having been enacted. I have another quote. It says, first mine, then craft, let's Minecraft. I forget which character said it. I'm thinking Steve, because that makes the most sense. But this caused another cheer. At this point, I'm very sick and tired of the cheering. Please stop clapping. Please stop yelling. Just watch the film silently. But honestly, it was a good quote, so you can't get too mad. So in order to prepare for this battle, the humans against the Piglins, and save the overworld from the eternal darkness, the humans have created an army of iron golems to attack the Piglins, as well Steve putting on his full set of diamond armor. Yet more claps of the armor apparently, but he did look really good in the armor, I will say. Whoever made that armor, the props team, nailed it. In fact, all the props, the crafting table, the sword, the minecart, the this, the that, every visual effect, every prop, on point to the game. Like, they nailed it. So during this battle, there's a scene where Garrett appears. He's riding in on one of the gassed balloons. And it turns out that in a previous scene, when there was an explosion on a bridge, he didn't actually die. We thought that he was very injured. When the boys wake up in the mushroom house, it's actually only Steve and Henry. So we all think Garrett's gone. But actually, psych, he was fine this whole time. And here he is coming in to help with the battle. And luckily, of course, the good guys do win. We save the overworld and banish the Piglins back to the Nether. No more eternal freaking darkness. Now we're at the point of the movie where our 4 main characters are finally ready to go back through the portal. We think Steve is going to go and stay behind in the overworld, but turns out he ends up going through the portal with them. But before he can make that decision, we have a song where Steve is singing to Dennis about, even though I love you as much as I do, I care about you, I'm happy to be back with you, yada yada, please actually go through the portal and be with Dawn instead. Take care of her, protect her, make her life better, make her happy, blah blah blah. And Garrett also says vaya con Dios, which he claims means goodbye, brother, but as someone who knows Spanish, it absolutely does not mean goodbye, brother. It means go with God. If he wants to say goodbye, brother, that would be adios, hermano. But anyway, so now that the 5 friends have gone through the portal and are back in the town of Chuglis, I have a feeling they're going to stay friends forever, because Garrett's store is now way more popular than it was before. They've launched a new video game, and in this particular scene, there's a party being thrown, playing guitars, singing songs. It's a grand vibe to be a part of. And then also, Dawn is able to ditch her real estate job and just do the zoo full time. Dennis is there as one of the animals, and everyone's just having a really good life in Chuglis. Now we're at the very end of the movie, and I have been trained, probably by Marvel, but also just in general, always stay to the very end of the credits. I'd rather, for lack of a better term, waste my time and there be nothing than to risk that I missed something. And in this movie, I'm very glad I did, because there were 2 end credit scenes. 2 of them. The first was with the principal and the villager. They're in the principal's home, and the villager is moving in with her or something, when all of a sudden her ex-husband, also a teacher at the school apparently, busts in through the door. And apparently the villager speaks English this whole time, because he goes on a rant about how much I love this woman and how dare you break up with her. You're an idiot. She's great. And apparently the principal also speaks villager now, so that's a thing. They've confirmed that they're in love. There's no way they're going to break up, at least not anytime soon. And I'll say it again, I'm very happy for them. Who knew Villager x Human as a love story would be one of my favorite things in this movie? But it probably was. And then the second end credit scene is Steve goes back to the house where he used to live. I don't know where he lives now, but the point is, he goes where he used to live, and he's asking the homeowner about a chest in the attic. Is my chest still there? Can I see it? Can I have my stuff? And this homeowner says, yeah, totally, come on in. My name is Alex. This is female Alex, the other iconic default skin of Minecraft. So they could totally do something with that if they wanted to make a sequel. They could totally do something that involved Alex if they wanted to make a sequel movie. And given how popular this film has been so far, they'd be idiots not to. But I also think another film they could do would be a prequel film. I was watching Film Theory recently, and one of the things that Lee had mentioned was about the Elytra wings. I'm paraphrasing here, but basically, you can't get Elytra wings without going to the end and finding them in an end fortress. Clearly, Steve has done that at some point, given he has 2 pairs of wings. So a movie about his journey to the end to get those Elytra wings, or just the end in general, would probably be a very good movie as well. They shown the Nether in this movie, but they didn't show the end. So if they wanted to, I think that would be a really good movie to watch as well. So either of those choices are prime options if they want to continue expanding this cinematic Minecraft universe. Last thing I want to mention before I get on to my rating is that the theater was very packed full. The movie came out on the 4th. We watched it on the 12th, I believe. And I don't think there was a single empty seat in our room. Period. It was packed full. Packed. So now on to my rating, since we've covered my entire list of notes. I think that I am going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. I was originally leaning that maybe I would give it an 8, but the reason I am definitively going with 7 is because I have to take into account my experience watching it overall, not just limited to the film itself. And as mentioned, I was getting very annoyed by the clapping and the cheering. I didn't like the disruption. I didn't like the extra noise. I just was not a fan of it for so many reasons, and it slightly tainted my experience, being getting annoyed and mad over the clapping, as opposed to just enjoying the film. So that is going to dock everything by a point overall. However, despite the clapping, I do highly recommend that you go and you watch this film. It seems to be just me that hates the clapping because my friend liked it, my brother liked it when he went. It's just a me thing, so take that as you will. But overall, definitely a very, very good movie, and definitely very accurate to the game in multiple ways. I highly recommend, if you're a fan of this franchise, this game, you should go and definitely watch it. That is going to wrap up this review for a Minecraft movie. If you liked it, please leave a big one down below and subscribe if you're new so you don't miss any of my future content. If you have already seen the movie, feel free to comment your thoughts down below. Follow me on social media, always linked in the description. And also, happy Easter. It'll be past Easter when I post this, but it is Easter when I'm filming, so I want to throw it in anyway if you celebrate. Aloha till next time!